Hello, everyone. I thank you for joining me, and I hope you're doing well. I'm afraid I got myself tagged, so I'm here to respond as best I can to the New Year, New Me book tag. And this probably isn't ideal for me because I'm not good with resolutions and goals. Any resolutions I bother to make are usually ancient history by noon on January 1st, but I'll see what I can do. Uh, I was tagged by Scott from the Some Other Character channel. I'll link his information below. Thank you, Scott. And just to kind of do my best to push it to you. Great channel, insightful, funny. And if you would, go over there just to congratulate him because my understanding is Scott has another grandchild on the way. So, yeah, check that out. And this is an original tag by Kevin from the Kevin Towle Reads channel. And sadly, Kevin is getting ready to go on a hiatus. His, oh wow, I'll just say, energy, enthusiasm, generosity, camaraderie will all be greatly missed around here for however long he's gone, but I'm certainly glad he's taking some time to himself to do what he needs to do, take care of his family and everything. But yeah, if you're not familiar, make sure to check his channel out. You won't be disappointed. I'll link that below as well. So I suppose that's the preliminaries. I'll get into the prompts. Prompt number 1, fears. What is one book from your 2026 reading goals that scares you? I don't know if scares me is quite the right word. I talked about this in my Historathon quarter number 1 pile of possibilities video, but I have here Livy's Histories of Rome. It's all one work, even though it's divided into volumes in this edition. But yeah, I enjoy the history of Rome. It's just been a long-term goal for me. Like I said, fear might not be the right word, but it's just quite a project to take on. So yeah, if there's trepidation, it's just in that, do I really want to take this on? But I'm not worried about limiting it to the first quarter of Historathon, so it could be spread out over the later months of the year as well. So I'm not that worried about it, to be honest. Okay, prompt number 2, patience. What is one book on your 2026 reading goals you want to start immediately? That's an interesting question. Forgive me while I'm trying to pull things up on my Kindle here. I can be a bit of a doofus. But one I will name is, I don't know if you can see that glare, I'm sorry, Frank Herbert's Dune. No, I've never read Dune, believe it or not, and it has long been on my radar. And I guess it was Dustin Neely not too long ago, I'll link his channel below, by the way, put out a very interesting video where he was analyzing the protagonist from Dune. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He was played by the Agent Dale Cooper, I Am the FBI guy in the David Lynch film of Dune, but I don't know the character's name. But anyway, he was analyzing that character, and Raskolnikov from Crime and Punishment, I am familiar with that character, through the lens of Nietzsche's work, which I'd actually like to read more of Nietzsche now that I think about it. But anyway, that video really interested me. It just reminded me that I would really like to get to Dune, so I thought maybe this will be the year. So yeah, I think I'll mention that just because I get the impression it's a pretty engaging read, so it's the kind of thing, yeah, I kind of want to get to that right now. I'm going to mention another one. It's kind of a bonus for similar reasons. It's just one that's been on my radar forever. Just a second here. Swan Song by Robert McCammon. Yeah, there again, I just get the impression it's supposed to be a pretty compelling read. It'd be fun to dive in right now, but patience, like the prompt says. So, okay, moving on, I suppose. Prompt number 3, growth. What book last year pushed you to reflect and or grow as a reader? This one's kind of difficult for me. Last year was far from my best reading year, mostly because so much real life stuff was happening that I wasn't worried too much about reflecting or growing as a reader. I had to take care of a parent who was recovering from a knee replacement, in addition to the other parent who has dementia. And there was a old family friend, who died in a horrible boating accident. And I had a cousin who is only 9 months my senior, who had a severe heart attack, coded in the ambulance, the whole 9 yards. And we had to kind of help prepare a house for him to move into. So yeah, it was a busy year in the non-bookish realm. So one thing I will mention, just because it was a very challenging read that I returned to, is the Platonic dialogue, the Timaeus. And I've actually read that one a couple times, and it's always very challenging. Frankly, it's downright weird. It's kind of Plato's cosmology, gets into the nature of the universe and the world, and there's demiurges and sacred geometry and all kinds of crazy stuff. But I decided to reread that last year. I remember just because it was one I seemed to be encountering a lot in my reading about medieval history, just how important it was in the West especially. A lot of times that was the only work of Plato that was sitting in monastery libraries, at least until later. So yeah, I'll mention that. Very challenging read. I don't know if it really helped me to grow. I don't know if I really came away with any greater understanding, but there it is. And I'll say, if you're interested in wading into Plato, if you've never done it before, don't start with the Timaeus. Yeah, go for the Apology, Credo, Phaedo trilogy, kind of the Trial and Death of Socrates trilogy there. Or even reading the Republic would be better than starting with the Timaeus. Yeah, so just thought I'd mention that. Okay. Prompt number 4, new paths. What is one author you plan to try for the first time in 2026? Now, I'm cheating a little bit with this one. I technically won't be starting this author for the first time. I'll give you a little bit of context here. Sadly, we've recently lost a great booktuber, Sean D. Standfast, and I will link his channel. It is still well worth checking out. But Sean Standfast was incredibly well read. I know I got a lot of great tips from him in the area of archaeology and history. He gave me some great titles to look for on the Indus Valley civilization, I recall in particular. But he was also a great fan of classic science fiction, and particularly the author Clifford D. Simak. And there is going to be a group that is continuing to read Clifford Simak this year. This is kind of a tribute to Sean. And I have read Clifford Simak's short story Desertion, which I believe got expanded into his novel City eventually. But yeah, sorry, my dog is alerting something up there. Doesn't sound too serious. But anyway, I guess the first title on the agenda is Ring Around the Sun, and that will be my first Clifford Simak novel, so I'm going to go with that. Like I said, not really my first excursion into that author, but that's what I'm going with. I am going to pause here for a moment to see what's going on with Rosalie. I will be right back. I swear I'm living in a cuckoo clock. But anyway, prompt number 5. Self-care. That's interesting timing. What is one book and or series you revisit for comfort? And this is kind of the common gutter answer, I suppose, but gotta tell the truth. Lord of the Rings. Well, it might be a little surprising. I mean, it's heroic fantasy and all that, but there's very much a tone of melancholy and fading and mortality hanging over that whole thing. But for whatever reason, it just does it for me. Yeah, that's a good comfort read for me. Also, another one that might seem obvious, but the Bible. You might think that's kind of a devotional thing, but I actually like returning to it just as a reader. I mean, particular books, of course. I don't go back and revisit the holiness code from the book of Leviticus for recreational reasons, but I certainly enjoy Genesis and the Deuteronomistic, is that it? Histories like 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, a lot of fun, wild stories in there. Job's a good one. I've always been kind of partial to the Gospel of Luke, certainly. John, of course, has great passages. I like the book of Hebrews, so yeah, I like to dip into it just as a reader, revisit. So, moving on. Prompt 6, Forging Ahead. What is your favorite debut book or first book in a series you read last year? Okay, this certainly isn't a new series, but I did read the first entry along with Brian from Brian and Casper from the Casper's Mystery Corner channel. I'll link their information below. Fun channel, check it out. But it's the first entry in the Brother Cadwell, I think is how you pronounce it, series of mysteries, A Morbid Taste for Bones. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. It's I think set in the 12th century English monastery. We have this Brother Cadwell, who was kind of a man-at-arms who lived an adventurous life during the First Crusade, and now he's kind of, I don't know if you want to call it retired, but he's older, and he lives at this monastery as the gardener, and he's kind of innovative with plant breeding, and he's very observant. He's had a lot of life experience, and he solves mysteries on the side. But in this case, this monastery has an opportunity to procure some, what's the word? Some more auspicious relics. Got to grab that pilgrim market share, I guess. I'm sure there were more sacred reasons as well, but at least for somebody. But there were also a lot of people involved in this that were much more interested in temporal advancement than the spiritual side of things, and we'll just say some murderous shenanigans ensue, and Brother Cadwell is on the case, and it's a lot of fun. I'm just a sucker for medieval settings and a good mystery, so look forward to carrying on with the series one of these days. Prompt number 7, goals. Do you have a specific reading goal or challenge for the year ahead? Not really. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but I'm not good with goals. Mostly because I just fail to achieve them and feel like a failure, and then end up spending time rotting in front of the television instead of reading all the books. So no, I don't have anything specific planned, certainly. What's sad is I used to be a type A personality, so to speak. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what this tag is turning into. But maybe more general goal. Poetry is not my strong suit, and I would like to make an attempt perhaps at reading more poetry. I have some very basic anthologies here. The Oxford Book of English Verse, New Oxford Book of American Verse, and I've worked on those a little bit, but I might start to dig into those more in earnest and maybe find some names I'd be interested in pursuing in more depth. So very vague goal perhaps, but I'll toss that out there. Okay, prompt number 8, breaking walls. Do you have a non-book related goal for 2026 you wish to share? I guess just because I live a pretty secluded life as a farmer slash caregiver, I worry about my mind kind of going to seed. I'd like to try to make some efforts just to get out and engage with the world a little bit more. It's, again, very vague, and in practice, I don't know how much of that actually can happen. Witness earlier in this video is a very minor example, but yeah, try to get out and about, see some things, engage with the outside world a bit more. Goals, am I right? All right, final prompt. Prompt 9, teamwork. Tag others. That's easy enough. I've been seeing this one going around a lot. I'm just going to throw out a couple names that I don't think have done this yet, but certainly if you're interested, have at it. I'd be glad to hear your responses. But I will specifically name Patrick from Patrick's Book Reviews. Great channel, by the way. Again, check him out, please. And I will also name Brandy from the Booklectic channel. I don't know if she's really interested in doing tags, but I'm calling you out, Brandy. Yeah, again, great channel. Does a lot of great buddy reads. Enjoys science fiction and nonfiction. Check out her channel. And with that, it's time for me to trail into my characteristic awkward closing. So I hope you're doing well. There goes the dog yet again. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.
But am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?